in Boots: The Last Wish is the long-awaited sequel to 2012's Puss in Boots and stars Antonio Banderas once again reprising the role of the famous cat burglar. And this film is telling the story of Puss kind of at the end of his life. This is him realizing that he's on his last of his 9 lives. And because of that, he wants to find the fabled wishing star, a magical element that will allow him to have any wish that he wants, and he wants to use that wish to get his lives back. However, there are also other people who want this, which leads to a lot of fun conflict and a really strong story. So yeah, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This movie has kind of come out of nowhere. Like, this film was really needing a sequel. Like, the original Puss in Boots came out such a long time ago, and people have wanted a sequel for a long time. And DreamWorks were like, hey, we've done it, we've made it, it's dropping this year. And it was really, really exciting. And I have to say, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, this movie is so much better than it has any right to be. First of all, how is Antonio Banderas still doing it? Like, this guy just kills it again and again and again. Not only is he just a phenomenal actor, but as a voice actor portraying this character, he just nails it. Like, he just knocks it out of the park. He's so good, so suave, but also so funny as well. Like, he really allows himself to kind of just break loose and go into the comedy with it, and I love that. He plays the character so well, and he has done ever since 2004 when he was first introduced in Shrek 2. Like, he's just so good in this role, and I loved seeing him return. And I think that this character, he's been around for so long, he's kind of such a huge part of the pop cultural zeitgeist. He's been around for so long that this film kind of earns the story it's trying to tell. I described it on Twitter as being the Logan of the Shrek universe, and I stand by it. I think that this film really does tell the story of this character at the end of his life. And while, obviously, this is a kid's film, and it does obviously tell it in a much more lighter tone than something like Logan, I think the similarities are there, and I think Antonio Banderas, rides that line really well and plays the character both sides incredibly well. The story of this film actually reminded me of a few different movies, like I say Logan, particularly with the character drama actually going on with Puss in Boots, but also this film is kind of like a journey heist movie, which kind of reminded me of Mad Max Fury Road, because you've got these basically 3 subsets of characters. You've got Puss in Boots and like his gang, you've got Goldilocks and her group, and then you've also got Jack Horner and his group, who are all going after the wishing star, and they're all kind of at different points along the journey. So it's kind of like one big chase going on throughout the entire film. So that, again, kind of reminded me of Mad Max Fury Road, which I thought was really cool. Like I say, it's great when you see these, particularly like these animated films, these kids films, kind of take a lot of inspiration from these other big movies that they can't make, and kind of, sprinkle them throughout their own movies. I think it's great, and there's so many inspirations like that in this film. Of course, Zorro as well, who's kind of like the main inspiration for this character. Again, Banderas connection. So there's a lot of really great stuff in this. And also, just special shout out to like a lot of the other performances in the movie as well. Like Salma Hayek returns from the original. She's fantastic. We also have Florence Pugh in this movie, which I completely forgot about until I was sat in the cinema watching it. Florence Pugh plays Goldilocks. She's great. Like, you could totally hear the Florence Pugh in the voice, and I just love that. Also, Olivia Colman is in the movie as well. There is just so many great actors and great choices in this. John Mulaney is also playing one of the major villains. There's just a lot of great stuff, and a lot of really great performances, and a lot of awesome voice actors that you will recognize when you hear them on screen. Now, I think the best thing about this movie is the animation. It is absolutely gorgeous. I am loving what DreamWorks is doing at the minute. Like, as someone who grew up with DreamWorks, like, I really did grow up with DreamWorks. Like, their films really were a big part of my childhood. Like, I didn't particularly grow up with Disney. I did with Pixar, but I say of all the animation studios, I mainly grew up with DreamWorks. And their new animation style that they sort of brought in last year with The Bad Guys is just great. Like, it's so unique, and it also just looks gorgeous on the big screen. Like I say, last year they released The Bad Guys, which was also a really great film. I really recommend you check that one out. But it introduced this new animation style that's kind of hard to describe. But with Puss in Boots, it's kind of taken it to the next level. It's really bright, it's really colourful, but at the same time, it has so much detail in it. And what was really impressive was this film kind of jumps from stop motion animation to normal 3D live action animation, which was really compelling because it's normally when the action kicks in, where it kind of goes into this slow motion thing. And it kind of tricks your mind because it plays off in slow motion, but it kind of presents the idea of enhanced motion, which was really clever, and I loved all that. And I just think that this film's animation style, it really separates DreamWorks from like the other studios. Like Pixar obviously have had, they're like the king of the industry. They have been for years. But we've been seeing so many other types of animation studios, you know, over the years. My battery was dying. That have been giving us so many other ones. You know, like the Spider-Verse movies are so unique. Pretty much anything Sony's been doing, to be honest, has been really, really strong. But I think DreamWorks, they needed to do something different, and what they've been introducing now with the last two films, I think they've really cemented themselves once again as one of the best animation studios working today. So overall, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I just thought this movie was absolutely phenomenal. Like, genuinely, I loved it. This is a great film for kids. It's a great film for adults. If you grew up with Shrek movies like I did, you're going to love this. There's loads of little nods to Shrek throughout it, which will definitely get you excited. And also, no spoilers, but the ending of the movie really hints towards something very exciting, which I literally lost my mind. Like, if that does happen, I can't wait. So I think that this film, you know, with its great performances, the return of a fantastic character, this beautiful animation, which is gorgeous on the big screen. I watched this movie in 3D as well, and in 3D, totally worth it. Like, I don't normally like 3D all that much, but I really enjoyed watching this one in 3D. I think it really worked, and this new animation style really pops in 3D. So I think all of that combined together make this an amazing watch. Like, I highly recommend you watch this. Go give it your support, because I don't think this movie's getting talked about that much in the general audience. So I highly recommend you recommend this movie to everyone you see. It's just so great. You can take anyone to go see it with you, and hopefully we'll get more amazing looking animation films from DreamWorks that look like this, because it's so unique, and I just can't wait to see more. So have you guys seen Puss in Boots: The Last Wish? If you have, make sure to let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Do you think it was a really strong film, or were you a bit disappointed? And what do you feel about DreamWorks' new animation style? Make sure to let me know your own thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more movie reviews like this, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads from me. And I hope to see you guys again next time.